What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is December 28th. I just wanted to come on here and say uh, this has been a heck of a year. It's been incredible. Um, Obviously, you're talking to all kinds of people, getting to know them. For those of you that don't know, that's checking this out for the first time, I am a sports journalist based out of Minnesota, sports broadcaster as well, and podcaster as well. And I love talking to people about their why of how they got into the industry and what they're all about. Pretty much getting to know them beyond their occupation. Got a special guest that's going to be coming up here. Her name is Angel Mcgee. She is a graduate from Truman State University. She's also worked in sports for the last 10 years with a combination of working with the Kansas City Royals and the Kansas City Chiefs, which she works for right now. She is also a native of Missouri. So we're going to talk to her about her why in the sports, ask her some fun questions. It's been a happening time down there in Kansas City for sure, with the Royals being in the past 10 years, being in World Series. They won the World Series in 2015. Kansas City Chiefs obviously won two Super Bowls. So just going to talk to her a little bit, get to know her. So without any further ado, I bring to you the wonderful, the talented Angel Mcgee.
Hey,
Good evening, Angel. How we doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful, doing wonderful. Just wanted to say thank you for giving me your time today. I don't take it for granted, so I really do appreciate that. Um,
Absolutely.
Also, I want to ask you, how was your Christmas, and do you have any New Year's plans coming up?
Christmas was Christmas. It was good overall family wise. I'm speaking, of course, from, we didn't quite win on Christmas, with the football game, but it was
Right.
good. It was really good. New Year's, nothing too much. I will be at work again. But just looking forward to this new year.
Me too,
Yeah.
Angel, and me too for both of that because I will also be working on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and I do look forward to the new year coming up. Although 23's been pretty good, cannot complain about 23, but I'm looking forward to 24. That's for sure.
Yes.
Um,
Likewise.
so, so let me give you some background on why I wanted to talk to you before I start peppering you with all kind of questions on here. Okay. Um, I saw that you work in sports, and I'm a sports journalist based out of Minnesota. I love talking to people likewise who work in sports. I love talking to journalists, but also love talking to people who work for teams as well, and also people that work in different genres, not just sports. I love getting to know people's why. There's always a story to tell. There's always a story behind someone's hustle of how they got into the industry. So I want to learn what you're about, and I want to learn what you do.
Yeah.
It intrigues me as well. A lot of people's different occupations intrigue me because I've never known. There's so many different jobs out there, so many different things that you do for sports and with a team. So it's amazing to hear people's stories about where they came from. I know you're a Missouri native, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, and you also went to Truman State University, which is in Missouri. So I love to hear your background and your upbringing. And obviously, it's kind of special for you to be working pretty much for your hometown state teams. Got to be
Yeah.
special doing that. So we'll get into that. So yeah, that's why I wanted to have you on here. Once again, I do thank you for coming on.
No, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Like you said, yeah, I born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri, so that's been home since day one.
All right.
Really stuck around in Missouri in general. So yes, went to Truman State University, graduated, came back. And then that's when I kind of got straight into the sports world. Sports is always what I wanted to work into. And be in. And I knew I was going to have and aspire to work in the industry. Doing what exactly, I wasn't sure, but I knew that I wanted to still focus on it. So throughout high school, actually got really, really interested in broadcasting and the journalism world. So that's actually what I was focused on for sports going into Truman State University, doing a lot of, I was a sports director for our campus television station. I did play-by-play, I did reporting, I wrote for the newspaper as well. So a lot of that was, my dream was to go to Bristol, Connecticut and work at the
Right, right,
ESPN headquarters. So that's really where my path started on, and what I was focused on and going to school. But we know that life always has a funny way of being like, haha, we're just gonna switch it up a little bit, which is what
right.
happened with me. So after college and after graduation, I divvied into, working in different types of sports settings. And so my first internship, from a sports perspective, was
Mhm.
actually with MoCam, which is an AAU basketball organization out here in Kansas City that's actually been the kind of the wheelhouse for a lot of well-known talent in the basketball world coming out of this part of the country.
Sure.
But also started with that, and then that transitioned over to landing my first part-time positions with both the Chiefs and the Royals at the time, which worked my way up from then. So just kind of worked my way up the ladder until full-time positions. And so where I am today.
So I love that, by the way. I really do. And I want to piggyback off what you said. You say you always was interested in sports. Were there any other role models? Was there anybody out there that you was like, because you had your eye on Bristol, Connecticut, which obviously that's where ESPN was, which who doesn't want to work for the World Wide Web, right?
Right.
Everybody wants to go there and do that. But like you said, sometimes life throws you a curveball and gives you a different hand dealt. You just got to play the cards, right? So I understand that. But tell me about maybe possibly some role models or who inspired you to want to get into sports.
That's a really good question. I think early on really was kind of modeled after my dad, just being in sports. My grandmother, loved, they both loved the Chicago Bulls, and my dad loved Jordan. So that's where, like, I guess it kind of passed along and it piqued more of my interest. But actually my love really, really, really started from it. That was kind of like partially, but I was a huge WNBA fan, and also specifically UConn Huskies women's college basketball. So really from, early on, like the Cynthia Coopers, the Cheryl Swoops,
Yeah,
Tia Charles, those lovely women, and from a WNBA perspective, of course, Lisa Leslie, how can you forget about the legends? But college is what really piqued me, from really, like, I knew and that was what my path was going to be. I was going to go to UConn and
right.
was going to go be a journalist and work for ESPN, but it didn't translate on the court like it did off the court. But that is where, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi are two of my favorite athletes of all time. And I that's where my love really just flourished and blossomed. And so to see the legends in the game, me following them that far back, when they were playing with Coach, Gino, and just all through what women's college basketball started is, the trailblazers that were in the game, and to seeing what it is now, I'm just, man, it's amazing. So really it was women's sports that really got me and propelled me into my love for sports overall.
I'm a huge WNBA fan. I'm a huge sports head, period. But Diana Taurasi is my favorite player. Back when Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo was another player that I really enjoyed watching.
Yes.
Who was also another UConn person
Right.
as well, right? So I loved her. And I also love Sue Bird. I love Lauren Jackson. Obviously, that
Mhm.
Seattle Storm team. I love that. I could probably bore you to death with all the players I mentioned that I love, but
Same.
but I truly do love the game of basketball, and especially women's basketball. There's some just talented athletes, and it's great to watch them do what they love, no doubt. So I like that. Let's talk about Truman State. Were there any other colleges that could have had your services? That could have been like, oh, I want to go there. Or did you apply to any other schools outside of Truman State?
Yes, I applied to a plethora of schools. My biggest choice, of course, was Mizzou. That's where I had my eyes on and really wanted to, specifically for the J school and what I was studying with journalism, and the whole nine. But Truman came in at like this swoop to swoop on me at the very last minute. And scholarship money, we know how that goes in these
I do.
households. So
Yeah,
mom and dad were like, so, we got some decisions to make, but
right.
ultimately, Truman State was the best decision for me. I still stand to it this day. I have had so many experiences, memories, friendships, relationships that, I'm sure I would have gotten them at any other college, but the girls and my village and my support system and everybody that I have in my life at this point, it wouldn't have happened had I not been there. So I'm super grateful for my time and all that Truman was able to afford me.
Sure. State schools are always a little bit cheaper than those private schools. We know that. That's for sure. I'm a Kennesaw State graduate down
Gotcha.
in Georgia, and I wanted to go to UGA. There's no question about that. But
Okay.
one, I didn't have the grades, and two, I didn't have the money. And that's just what it is. Like you said, we got to deal with the hand we got dealt. But anybody knows about Mizzou, they have a great journalism school. They're an NBC affiliate as well down there. So, but you made the best of it at Truman State, got your degree, and look at you now out there
Yes.
doing your thing with the Royals and the Chiefs. Now I want to. This is a question of favorite things, Angel. Okay, so normally what I like to do, I like to switch it up a little bit. I want to ask some favorite questions. Okay, and you just tell me what some of your favorite things is off the rip. Are you ready?
All right, let's go.
All right, let's get it. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Oh, chicken quesadillas.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. We're gonna be good friends, Angel. Chicken and a quesadilla. You combining both? Okay, I like that. I'm a tacos guy too. So I like tacos. So I like
Okay. Okay.
so yeah, I do like that. Okay. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
The Renaissance tour, Beyonce.
I figured you was gonna go Beehive on me. I figured that. I figured that. And you know what? Beyonce live is crazy. I had the privilege
Yes.
of doing her concert for Event Security twice in Atlanta, Georgia. The one time when she came with Jay-Z and brought Blue Ivy, and then there was another time when she came by herself. So I was blessed enough to do that. But I would still say my favorite concert is Lil Wayne Drake. There was nothing better than that.
Can't go
Nothing
wrong.
better.
Can't go wrong
Yeah.
there.
You know what I'm saying? So there you go. I like that. Beyonce. All right. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Favorite place probably would either be between, I think I would say we're gonna go Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Wow. Okay. Was that a family trip, a girlfriend trip? What was
It
that?
was a birthday trip celebrating my 30th.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I like that. Now, how many days did you spend there?
We spent, I believe it was 4 to 5.
Oh, that's enough time. Okay.
Yeah.
I know had to be a beautiful trip. Okay. Now, is that a place I should go visit? Should I put that on the bucket list?
Most definitely.
Okay. Okay. Say less. I
Yeah.
like that. All right. I'm with you. Two more of the favorites. Favorite sport you like to, this is a two-part question. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV? And then B, favorite sport you like to attend in person?
Ooh. This is really good. This is great question on how you spin this because watching on TV,
Is
basketball and
it
football go like this for me.
okay?
So watching on TV, definitely. I mean, they can both, it's between basketball and football, watching on TV and attending in person.
Okay. I like that. I would probably say just to piggyback off the travel, I went to Cabo San Lucas. That was a
Okay.
French trip. That was one of my favorites. No question about it. I'm a water person, so I like to be in nice weather, sunny, which I don't know why the hell I moved to Minnesota, but I like to be in very sunny and kind of places to be able to, get a little tan if I need to. You know what I mean? So I like to be in those kind of places. To answer this question, basketball would probably be my favorite to watch in person. I'm a huge basketball person. To watch on TV, I'll say football by default. I mean, I like hockey. I do. I like hockey as well to watch on TV, but I also like to watch that in person, but not more so basketball. Basketball is my number one sport. So
Love
I
it.
feel that. Okay. Last of the favorites, and this one is favorite restaurant.
Oh, favorite restaurants.
Oh,
Favorite restaurant.
I got you thinking, Angel. I like that.
Oh, so we have a
Okay.
chain here, and I think it's just for me, it's just because it's going to be sports related for sure.
Okay.
Um, but I have a couple of them. I like Red Door Grill, 54th Street Bar and Grill, and then there's another one called the Brooksider. And so Brooksider and 54th are very much your bar grill vibes, because that's just
Right.
the kind of vibe I like. Some people could be like, oh, I'm a Capital Grill, which those are nice. But if you're talking about me and what I would choose, those are gonna be my top two. Red Door is another one. It's more of like your an upscale version of a bar grill vibe.
I'm
But I
definitely
am
that
the
kind of person.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just, I like the sports feel, going
Mhm.
out, watching games and the whole nine. So and then you put food involved with it and I'm sold.
You can't go wrong with that. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, it's nice to go to nice, spiffy restaurants at times. Upscale. That's cool for special occasions. But for me, I'm a hat, as you can see, hoodie, jeans kind of guy. I like going to a bar, having a cold one. Hey, let's get some ribs or something, and let's watch the game.
Right.
That's the kind of person I like to be. I like to be that. So I'm with you on that. I can't remember the bar that I went to. I've only been to Kansas City once. It was a drive-by as we were going somewhere with family, but y'all got some very good barbecue down there. I know that's for
You
sure.
do.
There's no question about that. Y'all got some good barbecue.
Definitely.
And I'm coming from the South where I went to Memphis, Tennessee, and they also got some good barbecue down there. I've been to Tennessee a few times, but Kansas City, whew, yeah.
Yes.
Y'all the truth. No question. No question about that. This is a bonus question that I had that just came up in my mind. And what I want to ask you is, you spent time with the Royals and the Chiefs.
hmm
Now, did you get an opportunity to work any of the World Series games for the Royals?
Yes, every single one of them that was held in Kansas City in both
Okay,
years, 2014 and
okay.
2015.
Oh, and now obviously 2014, for people that don't know, the Royals lost in 7 games to the Giants, but they avenged it that very next year by winning the World Series over the Mets in 2015, just to refresh people's memory. How was those experiences working a World Series game? Because you going to an event that no one really can get into because it's super expensive, pretty
Mhm.
much, like not the regular person. But how is that going working those events? How was that?
Man, that time was probably one of the best times and experiences of my life. I mean, the whole city was just electric, on fire. It was a time. I mean, you literally saw the city, it had been over 30 years since the city had a huge professional team, because I know our soccer team, this Sporting Kansas City, had an earlier win, but in a long time, from the football, from the baseball perspective, in a league that big, it was the first time in so long that we had experienced any type of championship. So
Mhm.
the city was on fire behind it. And I mean, everybody from all walks of life was, talking about the Royals and the World Series and just the whole nine. I mean, that was truly, truly an experience.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. I was in 2021. I moved to Minnesota in 2022. But in 2021, if you remember, the Atlanta Braves won the
Yeah.
World Series. And I was in Atlanta. So I know for a fact we have at Truist Park, we have like it was on the outside. I couldn't get in. I couldn't get a seat, but they had the big monitor on the outside where you can go like to the bar and watch outside, and it was packed full of
Mm.
people. It's probably as close as I've gotten to a World Series game. But it was amazing because it was the clinching game, so it
Yeah.
was something different, right? So that's the closest. Eventually, that's my bucket list, to go to all the major, like either attend them or work. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. That's my bucket list thing for sure.
That's dope. That's a dope bucket list. I like that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, let's switch it. Super Bowl. Now, Kansas City obviously was 50 years from when they first won in 69. We talk about Dawson as the quarterback. We talk about
hmm
Hank Strom as the coach. Yeah, I'm a historian of the game too. So
Yeah.
ain't no question about it. You know what I mean? 2019 is in Miami. I don't know if you had a chance to go there versus the 49ers. And then obviously last year you played the Eagles and you win. Did you attend any of those Super Bowls? And if you did, how was that experience?
Yes, I went to Miami and Phoenix. So those experiences were amazing. Um, Man, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than, I mean, you find all your people, you're celebrating with everybody that's traveled, and
Right.
especially the fans, and you find, No, you're going out and celebrating. I mean, it was both times were a time for sure. So, definitely, I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that I would attend, World Series and Super Bowl in my lifetime.
Right.
But it's just the blessing I've been able to have been afforded with my jobs and just being in those spaces. So it's definitely just, huge bucket list check off if you want to say it that way, but also just really really great experiences, because I was able to experience both of them with my family on top of it, so it was pretty cool.
That is awesome. And listen, through your hard work and dedication, we also got to give you some flowers too. I mean, this is not an easy industry to work at. You have to be passionate about it because we both know, being a sports journalist, the money, it ain't gonna come off rip. We both know that. You got to be able to work a little bit for that for the money to do that. Now, I'm not sure how it is with the team, but I know journalism for myself, definitely it wasn't like that. But I've been able to kind of get a couple of raises since then, so we pretty good. We're okay. We're
There
all
you
right.
go.
And I'm sure that you have as well through your working of 10 plus years with both of those organizations combined. I love that. Now, this is another bonus question because now I'm thinking, okay, we talked about 2019, 2021. What about the losing experiences though? When you went there and they lost. Now the Royals lost in 2014, the Chiefs lost to the Bucks in
Yeah.
2020. How was that? Was that a little different? Was it like, okay, you know what? We just gonna go home. We gonna get up out of here. How was that?
2014 was probably the most heartbreak I had experienced in a while.
Mm,
From a sports perspective, that was just, you hate, you get that far, and the year that we had, we were already, no one had us going that far, right? We barely got into the wild card, and then we won the wild card, and it was just like, wow, these are the comeback kids. So you wanted the story to end as such, and it didn't. And so, that it was just one thing where it was just like, man, like we were
close.
so close.
Right.
But then we were able to avenge it the following year. For the Chiefs loss in the Super Bowl, I think that was just such a different time. That was the COVID year.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
for that season, and so that was pretty hard to it was just different overall. That's when, the sporting events started only having 50% capacity in stadiums, and it was just all around a weird year for sports in general. And so um yeah, we don't really talk about that year for the most part. And I don't really have too many recollections of it because it's just like, we went, we made it to a Super Bowl, which is a feat in itself.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, and then we move on to the next.
Well, let me break it down to you, Angel, before I get to this next question. So I grew up in San Diego, California. Okay, so I've been a Chargers fan pretty much my whole life, right?
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, so we in the same division, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
However, I already knew when y'all drafted Patrick Mahomes, we was gonna be set back for a few years because I'm like, you know what, we're not gonna get it. It ain't gonna happen for us. Then we moved to Los Angeles because we don't want to get a new stadium in San Diego. So I try to, uproot with the Chargers, and now we still a mess. Regardless of Patrick Mahomes being drafted, we still a mess. So it's been rough for me. I'll take a Super Bowl appearance. I promise you. 'Cause we ain't had one since 1995. And if I remember my age correctly, I was about 7 when that was happening. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, right. I was pretty young. And it is what it is. I'll take a Super Bowl appearance. So
Yes.
that's definitely talking for sure. For sure. Tell me what you do on a day-to-day basis as far as your occupation goes. Like we talked about before, there's many different roles within a sports team, within the sports industry. Talk about what you do, what's your title, and what are you most responsible for?
Yeah, so right now, actually recently transitioned out of another position, which was with Director of Club Relations for the Players Alliance. And so that was more so working with all 30 Major League Baseball teams in the work that I was doing. And so day to day, um, basically staying on top of relationships, making sure I'm in the loop about everything team wise for all 30 teams. A lot of my position was rooted in events and programs and really keeping the communication data management, excuse me, the data management part of everything, and making it so, that we're able to manage that system all together. So that was a lot of traveling and
Yeah,
all the programs that we're doing and making sure, just kind of day in, day out. And so more so with that position, that was more so kind of the in-home full-time, as you can think of, day to day. And then right
sure.
now, currently, I'm still working as a field coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. And so that's more so game day related, but it's all production. So majority of my meetings, majority of all the work is happening on game day. So, and then in between that, I do a lot of things community wise with players and foundations. So constantly just on the go with having my feet wet and being busy in the community, um, events, programs, kind of everything you can kind of name in that respect.
No, I like that. I appreciate that breakdown too. Like I said, there's a lot of different jobs out there that people don't know about. That's within a sports organization, right? So, it leads me into the next question, which is mental health and work-life balance, right? You talked about being on the go. So when you're on the go, sports is not a 9 to 5 kind of job, right? It's it could be all day. It could be crazy type hours. It could be crazy type days. It's mainly nights and weekends, except for that Christmas Day game. That was early in the
Right.
afternoon. But other than that, it's crazy, right? So tell me about your mental health and how do you maintain that? Two-part question. And then two, how do you maintain a positive or should I say a work-life balance that is acceptable for you?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Because if you work in sports, you know anything about it, it is very stressful, one, and two, very mentally taxing. So, um, there's a lot of learning lessons there over the years, and I finally got to a place where I had to start prioritizing self-care,
Sure.
saying no to certain things,
Hmm.
just moving around my schedule in a way that was conducive for myself, to maintain, still having a social life, so that being able to show up for other people in that aspect. So I think kind of, I know it's a two-part question, but I'm answering it all together because for me, I was able to start identifying, I need to rest because I can't function anymore. Um,
Right.
and burnout is very real, and I've
Yes.
experienced it multiple times. And so I already know, it got to a point in the season where I could already tell I knew when my body was going to start giving out pretty much. Um,
Okay.
and I didn't want to keep experiencing that. And so I knew to start taking breaks, resting. Um, I'm usually, the go-to person for everything and everybody, going the extra mile, going the extra step to do things, making sure things are done. And sometimes it's okay not to. And if that, if that's impinging and intruding upon your personal time, your personal space, your personal, your self-care regimen of any sort, that's just, I'm gonna come in a couple hours late today to work. Um, have the morning to myself, or I'm gonna take today off and y'all come back, got me for the rest of these 7 days. It's just
Right.
different things,
Right.
different ways. Even outside of it, just trying to find that balance for itself. And so that's one thing that I've been very, very intentional about moving forward, even these last few years, in work-life balance, because truthfully speaking, it's really work-life integration. There's no such thing as a balance because work is always going to be work and it's always going to be there, but it's about how you're integrating your life happenings in your work life because it's always going to be there as the basis, the foundation. So it's more so of an integration, as I like to call it, in that aspect. But keeping, what's first and prioritizing and making time for those things that need to have that time.
I love that. Integration. I'm gonna start calling that too. Instead of
Yes.
work life integration. I like that. No, I really do. It's a great answer, Angel. It really is. And it's a question that's worth asking.
Yes.
Because people really don't understand the behind the scenes and the work that goes into some of these positions. Whether you work with a team, whether you want to be a journalist, whether it's print or broadcast, sometimes they just see the final product and it's like, oh man, it seems like it's fun, and it really is fun. It's something that we love and we enjoy, but it is taxing, And sometimes the hours can get taxing. Sometimes the responsibilities that people put upon you can be taxing. And like you said, you do need rest. You need to be able to do what makes you feel the most comfortable. You know, everybody is different in how they, channel their mental health. Meaning that some people I like to write poetry. I like to work out. There's times that I like to do that. I like to just be able to write. Like to be able to go and take a walk, especially not in the wintertime because it's cold as hell here in the winter. But in the summertime, I love to go take a walk for sure. Other people like to do other things.
Yeah.
But people need to know when you come into this industry that burnout is real. Yeah. I've had a few journalist friends that's quit and went to something else because they like, man, it's burnout. I'm doing this, it's deadlines. My bosses are not treating me that good. They're not worried about my mental health. And I understand the bosses are worried about the bottom line, right? They're worried about that. But as an individual, you got to make those decisions. And it's a roundabout way of me saying you got to set boundaries, right? Set boundaries for yourself. And when you're in a good situation where people allow you to do that, then it's great. And when they're not, then it's not. But you got to pull the trigger and be like, hey, I can't do this. I got to put a stop to something. So I'm glad you said rest because I love to sleep too. And I don't want my sleep affected. I mean, I need to be able to get my sleep on and then be able to function. You can hit me when I get up, but I need my rest. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, we are at the portion of the podcast, Angel, where we're about to do some this or that. Okay. So I'm going to throw two things at you. All right. And you tell me which one you would do, this or that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's rock. Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes. But fun fact, I don't eat either. So I'm gonna just go with what I know in my household.
What? You don't eat either chicken place? Or is it like a Chick-fil-A out there or something?
Not like that. I don't even eat Chick-fil-A. So I don't, I'm a different breed, I'm different species. And that's a conversation for another day. But I know what my daughter likes. I'm gonna go with what my daughter likes.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. And I'm definitely wanting to have that conversation with you because I'm intrigued. I'm already intrigued, but you saying the not two places. I'm definitely intrigued. Okay, I like that. Okay, this one here. MJ or LeBron?
MJ. And I told you why. So
you did. You did. I just wanted to see, because there's some people that's teetering now. Like I said, I was very young when MJ, was coming along. Obviously, LeBron I'm grown now, and obviously seeing LeBron do his thing, but MJ is always going to be mine too. My parents also, I didn't mention this, my parents grew up in Chicago. So,
well, there you go.
That's why. Yes, my dad's from the south side, my mom's from the west side of Chicago. So, yes, they grew up there. So
I peeped your hat.
Yeah, right? So you already see it, so you know. Okay. Tom Brady or Peyton Manning?
Oh, man. Wow. I mean, oh man.
I like asking these tough questions, baby. I do. I love it.
Both are so well respected. I think, even in their own regard, if you're gonna go for end of the day, I mean, you gotta go with they're both the GOATs, but it's looking like it's Tom.
Okay. All right. That's it. Okay, Tom Brady. I'm a Peyton Manning guy. I'll say Peyton Manning. Okay.
Understood and respected.
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm gonna ask you, do you eat chicken wings?
Yes, from time to time.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that is because this sets up this question. Lemon pepper or barbecue?
Barbecue.
Okay, obviously. Right? That's a no-brainer. I get it. Boneless or bone-in?
Oh man, they're gonna eat me up on here, but boneless. Oh well.
We're gonna be very good friends, Angel. I knew it. I knew we were gonna be good friends with the boneless girl. I'm with boneless too. Do you eat yours with a fork too?
You can catch me. You sure probably can.
Listen, it's okay to be messy. I don't want people to think that boning is bad. Boning is not bad. What we're saying is what we prefer is boneless.
Correct.
That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying.
If it's there and I'm gonna eat it.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have boneless, I'll take the bone in and get messy. It don't matter with that. No doubt. Okay, here we go. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
I'll do bowling. I'm
Okay,
probably
are
gonna be
you a
bad
good
at
bowler?
both. I'll be bad at both, but I'd rather do bowling because I can get the movement at least.
Got you. Okay. So I got three more. This one is the WNBA question.
Okay.
Which one would you rather see play? Okay. Which one would you rather see play right now? Jewel Lloyd or Enrique Ogumlake?
I'm gonna go Jewel because Seattle Storm, and that's just kind of been my loyalty. And with I love Jewel, so it's a historical thing.
I'm a Phoenix Mercury guy
Okay.
because I told you Diana Taurasi's my favorite player. Also, I do like Skylar Diggins as well, although she wasn't with the team this year. I don't know if she's gonna be coming back or not, but I'm a Phoenix Mercury guy. But I also want to see where Caitlin Clark lands. I think she's gonna probably go to the Fever since they got the #1 overall pick.
Correct.
I believe so.
Which you're
You
about
know,
to have Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark on the same team, and I think that's wow.
well, listen. Right now, the Liberty runs it, and the Aces, Liberty and Aces are up there, but
Oh,
the
for
Fever coming.
sure.
The Fever coming. Cause don't
For
forget about
sure.
Tiffany Mitchell now. Tiffany Mitchell on that team too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I told you, girl. I'm a huge WNBA
Oh
fan. I
yeah.
love
I'm just throwing out names of just, the ones that people can connect the dots with. We
absolutely.
will know who we're talking about and having
Yes,
deeper
indeed.
conversations. But for those who, need to connect some dots first, there we
No
go.
question. No question. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Okay. Has to do with music. Which concert are you willing to go pay to see? Are you willing to go pay to see J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar?
Oh,
Oh
that's
yeah.
not fair.
Listen, hey, we ask difficult questions here.
I'm gonna say J. Cole because I have not seen J. Cole in concert yet.
Hmm?
And I
Okay.
have seen K Dot. So for the basis of me not personally, I'm gonna go J. Cole because I haven't seen him yet.
And once again, I'll reiterate, you are not saying that you wouldn't go see either artist because you will
Correct.
go see both of them. I'll
Correct.
reiterate that for you. I will also choose J. Cole for the same reason. I have not seen him in concert yet. I had the privilege, I should say, of seeing Kendrick Lamar
Yeah.
multiple times. So
Same.
yes,
Same.
no question. Okay, this is the last this or that. Now, which sport would you rather watch or attend? You can do either or. It doesn't matter. Baseball or hockey.
Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna go watch baseball because I do love attending baseball, but I'm
Okay.
probably not gonna watch hockey, but I would go attend hockey because I'd rather attend a hockey game than watch it. So I'm gonna go watch baseball, attend a hockey game.
I feel that. I do. I feel that. Okay. I like that. Angel, you did pretty good on this or that. You did. Yeah. I like that. I do. I do. Um, do you think the WNBA should get a team in Kansas City?
Absolutely, hands down.
Okay. Now, I
Yes.
reason why I asked that is because I would think Kansas City has a great base for women's sports. Obviously, I think the NWSL, the soccer
Mm-hmm.
team is there.
Yes.
Obviously, I think Kansas City's a great sports town. And I think that they should get a team there. I just don't know. I mean, you got the Chiefs, you got the Royals. What other teams am I missing? Enlighten me about Kansas City. What's
Yeah,
the
so you do have NWSL, the Kansas City Current is the name of the women's team. You
yeah.
have the Chiefs, you have the Royals, you have the men's MLS team, Sporting Kansas
Mhm.
City. You also
Mhm.
have the independent American baseball team, the Monarchs,
Oh, yeah.
which is a semi-pro league, which they
Mhm.
have won the championship back to back now.
Okay.
So a lot of
Okay.
talent that's kind of from the semi-pro level. And we also were just named a home to begin the first professional volleyball federation.
Okay.
And being named one of the cities that will host a team here. So that's up and coming, I think, either next year or 2025.
I'll let.
So the sports scene in Kansas City is rising tremendously. Not to
Okay.
mention all the pickleball stuff that's happening
Yeah.
and on the
Yeah.
rise
Do
as
you play?
well.
Do you play pickleball?
I do not play, but I will watch everybody else.
Okay.
But overall, yes, I think, Kansas City's been vying on both ends. I know we've had a huge initiative to the NBA first, and trying to get an NBA team, but also think that WNBA, just the climate and where we are and seeing just how our city has come around, the current in itself. We're building the first specific soccer stadium for women's soccer in Kansas City in North America. So that's huge in itself for Kansas City in that base. And I think it just lets you know just where we stand with supporting women's sports. So I think whether it be NBA, whether it be WNBA, they're going to both see a great draw in support. And I think Kansas City is, on the rise, up and coming. We just held the draft this past year. We're
Yeah.
gearing for the World Cup as well, that's coming up in the next few years. So it's a lot happening, No,
I
Kansas
like
City's
that.
been on the rise here in the last few years. So I definitely say we would be ready.
No, I like that. I do. And if I'm not mistaken, college basketball, Big 12 is the
Absolutely.
conference
Yep.
championship is held there every year. I
Yep.
just think it's a great town. It kind of leads me to this next question because I want to come back to Kansas City. I really do. First, I got to get some of that barbecue. I'm sorry, I got to get some of it.
Absolutely.
What's something I should do? What's like a couple of things that I should do in Kansas City? I know one of them for sure because you mentioned it. You mentioned the Kansas City Monarchs. If I'm not mistaken, y'all have a museum of the Negro League All Stars. If I'm not mistaken, do y'all have something like that in Kansas City?
Yes, we have the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. So
Yeah,
that's
I want to see that.
all the history of the Negro Leagues. And that's actually the first place I thought about that I was going to tell you. So
Okay, okay,
that's one of the ones I was actually just with Bob Kendrick earlier today, who's the president and the face of the museum itself. He's actually a really, really great friend and colleague of mine. So that would be my first kind of like, you definitely got to go. Depends on the
okay,
season you're coming, you got to catch a game. It doesn't matter where. So if you're coming in baseball season, catch a baseball game. If you come in football, catch a football game. If you're coming soccer, same on both sides, MLS or in WSL. Even for the Monarchs themselves, those games are a lot of fun. I would definitely say to visit them. There's a lot of different other kind of things that you could do. Just kind of depends on like what your flow, your vibe is. I would definitely say to check out some of our more kind of I guess could be some touristy, but the Union Station, which has a lot inside of it.
okay.
It's one of our more historical landmarks, but it's how it houses our it's Science City, but a lot of history about Kansas City in general. And then they also host a Kansas City mob tour, which is a lot of fun because I don't know if people know, but Kansas City had a lot to do with in that time frame with Prohibition and a lot of mob families. Kansas City was just a hub. To this day, there's still a lot of history around the city. So it's a very like inquisitive thing. So if you're into history or anything like that, would definitely say
Absolutely.
to visit, take those types of tours.
Okay.
And just kind of, get your bearings on some of those historical aspects of our city.
Yeah, definitely looking to come into the springtime when it warms up just a little bit.
Yes.
I definitely would have to let you know when I'm in town. There's no
Yes,
question.
you do. You do.
Absolutely, we can do that. Three more questions. You have been absolutely terrific. I love talking to you. I want to know pros and cons. What is the big misconception about working in sports? I get that question a lot as a journalist. It's fun to cover the games. It's fun to
Mhm.
talk to the coaches and the players. For me, it's fun to even write feature stories, which I write as well. But for me, in my field, the con is probably the deadlines and some of the sometimes when you have to interview players is tough, especially
Yeah,
with the tough losses
right.
because you see the emotion, you see the tears, you see the tears in the coaches, tears in the players, and it's just tough to interview them because you need your sources to talk to you, you need comments, but that's the toughest thing for me. It's going up to a high school kid knowing that your season's over or your high school career is over and they've had a loss,
Right.
right? So tell me what is some pros and cons or what is the big misconception about working in sports?
I think I'll say more of I'll start with cons more so because I think this can kind of just go all across the board. When you get into to sports and start working in the lifestyle, you realize just how much you do have to sacrifice.
Yeah,
Whether it be social life, whether it be, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
it is.
And,
It is.
a lot of the times, you don't have you don't have a life working in sports, depending on the season or depending on, the aspect or just how you are working in sports. For me specifically, I worked in baseball for 9 seasons.
Yeah.
That is a lot. That's 81 home games,
Yep.
right? The
Yep.
most of any sport, any league, anywhere.
Right.
162 altogether all year round. But it's like once if we make it to postseason, great. If we don't, we're gearing up for the next season. But as soon as January hits, I mean, it's back on. You got spring training.
Yep.
For some teams, it depends on if they're doing a fan fest or if they're doing like a special winter, celebration to welcome the team back and welcome the players back. I mean, it starts when January hits. So if your season went through, October 1st or November through postseason, you got a small window to just
Right.
kind of recoup and then you're back at it.
Right.
And so that's one thing that I say, like, I don't think some people realize in certain lanes for me, because I was in a community lane, did a lot with youth baseball and softball, and then also with baseball operations and players of that nature. So I was on hand for it all. It was pretty much being there all the time, and working on the field in event production and presentation and game entertainment. I'm there. I mean, I'm there all the time. So I think that's probably one big con is just the amount of sacrifices you do have to make, the weekends, the long nights, the long hours, holidays, there were
Yeah.
a lot of holiday. I worked a lot of holidays and still working a
Yeah.
lot of holidays. I just worked on Christmas and I'll be working again on New Year's Eve. And even
Hello.
springtime, 4th of July, stuff, Memorial Day. Labor Day. Those were it was just standard, depending on how the
Right.
schedule fell and what the schedule looked like. But I think that's one thing that you get into it because you love it so much and you're so passionate about what you're doing. And,
Yes.
sports really brings out the grind and the hustle in people. But it's also probably one of the biggest cons is the amount of sacrifices one will have to make.
I totally love that you brought up that point, and people should know. Obviously, whenever this gets posted, people should definitely replay that answer because the sacrifices is definitely real. I did not get a chance to see family on Christmas because I don't have any family here in Minnesota. So anywhere I have to go to family, I got to travel. My mom's in Georgia, my dad's in upstate New York. So it's tough because when we cover in 12 high schools and a college, as you know, as you just said, these guys play seasons all year round, right? And it leads into the summertime. And what you just said about baseball, that's 81 games. And if you make the postseason, you're heading into 90 to 90 some games.
Yeah.
But you also are heading into October and November. The season starts, like you said, in January. So that's almost a 10-month grind of fan fest, of spring training, regular season, postseason. And you really don't get much time off. But again, if you love it and you're as passionate about that, then you'll do it to the best of your abilities, like you have been doing it. And I love it to the passion too. But you do have to sacrifice
Yeah.
social life. You mentioned that. I typically don't get off till 11 p.m. It's kind of hard to see people at 11 p.m. at night. It's
Right.
just hard. It's hard to see that, right? I start there, and once again, we said sports are afternoon, evenings, and weekends. So it's like, ooh, when everybody's working business hours, you working irregular hours. So
Right.
it's very tough to go out. Like you by yourself on off days. Like you got an off day and it's like, oh man. And even on your off days, you probably still work at some point, like in sports, because I'm either calling somebody, setting something up, or doing something, right? That's not very game related, but maybe community related, like you said.
Mhm.
So it's probably best that as far as social life goes, you got to get some likewise people around you
Right.
that understand your schedule.
Definitely so.
Uh, to be able to to be able to have a social life, to be able to hang out and stuff like that. Advice, Angel, advice. I want to know what is some advice someone has gave you or you have given someone in this industry that you hold on dear to?
Absolutely, two things. Don't be afraid to fail,
Okay.
and a delay is not a denial.
Oh,
So, yes.
okay. Okay.
Um, because going in deeper into my journey, when I give the Cliff Notes version of my journey and how I got into sports, we heard it earlier, kind of going through, but oftentimes I won't always touch on that. Like my first go at an internship with the Royals, I wasn't chosen, I wasn't selected, but because they believed in me and they wanted me to get the experience to continue on, they brought me back in a part-time role to help me get that experience. And then I spent 2 seasons on their part-time staff to then go on and become the intern 2 seasons later from the first
Mm.
season when I was told no. So for me, that was just like okay, well, I'm gonna just do what I need to do.
Right,
You
right,
told me no,
right.
but that's great, but I'm gonna get it somehow. So for me, it was just like it wasn't that time. That was not my time. That wasn't my season. And then it ended up being my season. But I didn't let that deter me from going forward. Like I didn't just, give up on the team or no, I don't want to take this smaller role because I wanted the internship. What do I look like working for? Like, no. Oh, you said I need experience? Bet I'm gonna get it.
Right,
And you're gonna offer it to
right.
me? Even better. Um,
Absolutely.
so those are the two things because along the way you're going to fail. You're not going to hear yeses every time, but it's what you do. It's the resiliency part of it. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to sit in it or are you going to let that motivate you to getting to the next step? Because one person's no is another person's yes. And it doesn't define you. So those would be my 2 points of advice that I would give anybody that's either aspiring already here and they're in a crossroads or they just need some motivation, some encouragement to move forward.
She preaching right now, y'all. That's what she's doing. She preaching right now because that is absolutely A1 like steak sauce. I mean, it is. It truly is. There's no question about it. Everything you said, I love that the delay is not a denial. I don't think I've ever heard that phrase before, but that is so true. It's so true. Just to piggyback off what you said, my first internship experience was an internship that I took with the Knoxville Ice Bears. I just wanted to break into sports somehow. At this point, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something with sports because I loved it. I had no car at the time. So it was in Knoxville. I went to a career fair at the Falcons. I was in Atlanta, and they called me up and said, "Hey, we need you to come here and do game presentation and help out. And are you willing to do that?" And I was like, "Yeah." They was the first person that called me, but then I had to figure out how I was gonna get there. So I would get up at 4:30 in the morning. I would leave my house and take an Uber to the MARTA. I took a mega bus to Knoxville from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I would get there. Then after that, I would check into a hotel and stay there for 2 nights. So my Fridays and Saturdays, I was off. So I would work in Knoxville and then I would take the turnaround trip and come back Sunday morning because I worked Sunday through Thursday at my full-time job for the lottery at the time. But I did this for about 3.5 months every week. Or every week they had home games, I should say, but 3.5 months. And I say that because if it's something that you really are passionate about doing and you want some kind of experience in because not only does it give you experience for what to expect with a team, but it also shows you what you don't want to do,
Right.
right? You do things that you want to do, but then it shows you what you don't want to do. Like, I tried that. That's cool. I'm going to go this direction, right? I'm going to go a different direction. I wanted to do that, but I took a mega bus because, like I said, I didn't have a car at the time, and I was like, okay, I was Ubering everywhere because I didn't want my family to drive me everywhere. So I just said, I'm an Uber, and I'm gonna save up this, I'm gonna save money, and then I'm gonna be able to get me a car one of these days. And eventually, I did get me a car. Eventually, obviously, I've got a full time. I started doing before I got this full time in Minnesota. I was stringing games in Atlanta. I was doing football, basketball, baseball, and lacrosse. I was covering games and I was writing stories there on a part-time basis, still working for the lottery as well. And then eventually I crossed over and got my full-time here. So I say all that in a roundabout way of, again, a delay, like Angel said, is not a denial. and don't ever give up.
Right.
Continue with your dreams. It might not be something that hits in the first time, the second time, or the third application. You may get denied. But if you continue going, some point, somebody's going to say yes to you. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely true. Like I said, she was speaking the gospel. There's no question about that. No question. Now, we come to the portion of the podcast, Angel, where you got to name two other people that would come on here and do this podcast with. Two other people that you think would come and sit down with me and talk to me just like you did.
Oh, two other people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go with my homegirls. One of them is
Okay.
DP Taylor. She currently is the executive director of community relations for the Kansas City Current. And I'll go Kiana Sinks, who currently is the community and membership, I think it's community membership engagement manager for the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. So
Okay.
I'm gonna throw them out there. We're gonna see.
Well, listen, you said Kiana and who else?
And DP.
DP.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. So them two, obviously, I look forward to talking to them too. If I can get them on LinkedIn, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. And break bread with them and hear their story of how they came into sports. This has been an absolutely fascinating conversation. I think I've learned quite a bit about you. Obviously, Truman State grad, worked for the Kansas City Royals during their World Series championship runs. Also, Kansas City Chiefs that you work for. You are a beehiver, I should say. You are down with Beyonce, no question about that. Going to see her live, and you also are somebody who, to me, I would say is very motivational, very inspirational. Because hearing your story about how you got denied and you still kept on and you kept going, and how you've moved up the ranks through your hard work, you definitely deserve your flowers. And I know you're still going, you're still doing your thing. I get that, but can't be ignored what you've done, because if everybody can do it, they would do it. So
Absolutely.
it is what it is on that. I absolutely appreciate your time, Angel. And I look forward to more conversations with you in the future, because girl, you're just dope. There's no other word I could use. Is there anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
No, just Chris, thank you for this opportunity. It was a pleasure sitting down and just chatting and learning more about each other. I definitely learned some things about you as well. But just, yeah, the two gems that I dropped early on to anybody that'll be listening and tuning in and needs some motivation or some encouragement is just, don't be afraid to fail. And delay is not denial. So what's meant for you will always be for you, and it will never miss you. So
That's right. And
there we
any
go.
question that you have for Angel that I might not have asked on this podcast, you can definitely reach out to her on LinkedIn. I'm sure she would definitely be happy to talk to you as well. So once again, Angel, you have a wonderful night. We will definitely be in touch, and enjoy your Thursday.
All right. You do the same. I appreciate it, Chris.
No doubt, Angel. You take care.
You too. Thank you.